Coach's Corner is your source. Baseball, football, soccer, and hoops. The Coach's Corner has the scoop. It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
It's the Coach's Corner.
What is happening, everybody? You're listening to the Press Start Radio Show. Forgot about that part. We got a little bit of intro music. Oh boy. My name is Xander.
So Xander, what's funny is when you play. Sorry to interrupt you. Right off the bat, I'm not even giving you a chance. When you started playing the music, I could hear it like barely in and out. It sounded like the chicken dance.
The chicken dance. I would have loved for our intro music to turn into the chicken dance.
I might get in trouble for that one.
Yeah, that's got to be copyrighted or something.
Yeah, some place somewhere. Yes. But anyways,
but I'm here
nice
by the other lovely voice you're hearing is Andy. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on the show, thank you for having us, as a part of Coach's Corner and everything. And
goes both ways.
Goes both ways. That's right. We're just here to entertain the masses.
Exactly.
So today, we're going to be talking about some video games, some new releases that have been coming out. A lot of the games that are dropping recently have been getting a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
There's two that I want to highlight, but both have swords, so they're similar in that regard, but very different games. The first one, though, Andy, before we got on the air, you had mentioned a game called Avowed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a game that it's kind of a first-person RPG, very reminiscent of Skyrim in that regard.
That's a good comparison. Yes.
Yeah, I think, but also I think you can have a sword, you can have a shield, you can have a wand because you can be a magic user. I also think there's like pistols and stuff. So I think that there's like a lot of different ways that you can approach the combat in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what I'm seeing all over the place, I haven't gotten a chance to play it myself because RPGs just take so much time out of your life. And as you and I are kind of similar age, we don't have a lot of free time to be playing the RPG styles.
Nope.
But people are loving it.
More free time.
Yes, I wish I had more free time for these games, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks really cool. Definitely one I want to at least try out. I'm hoping they a lot of the newer games they'll put on Game Pass for Xbox, and I'm kind of hoping it falls there eventually, just so people can try it out. But I know there's probably certain ramifications that have to be met for it to be there, and if it's popular, people know, like they know people will buy it. Why put it on Game Pass, stuff like that. But I'm crossing my fingers, and if that's the case, I'll try it there first. But eventually, I'll probably get into it and buy it, and slowly play my way through it. But I'll enjoy every moment probably. But I've watched a couple walkthroughs and like those gameplays and a couple people on like YouTube and stuff. And from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool. So a lot of the people that I watch, usually they'll have like 10 episodes and then they'll either end it like on abruptly somewhere and they just kind of move on to the next game. But the one guy I've been following and watching for a long time, he's on like episode like 40. And it's deep. Yeah. And I was like, man, this game goes on forever. And that's my kind of game. Like it doesn't end, there's always something new. You can always go back and like play other side missions. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago, Odyssey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That kind of game. Even though it's over, it's not over. Like that's my kind of style. I like that.
No, and I've seen even just with the breadth of play style in a game like this, I've seen people are still playing a game like Skyrim, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can beat it and you can play a very specific way, and then you can start over and completely change not only how you're playing the game, but the characters you're approaching, the quests that you try to achieve, the relationships within this, these role-playing games. You can approach every single facet of it in a different way, and it changes your overall gameplay experience, which I think is just amazing. That's another reason that a game like Baldur's Gate 3 was so popular recently, is because, I mean, from a person that plays Dungeons and Dragons, there are just about infinite ways that you can approach a scenario, and the way that Baldur's Gate 3 lets a player do that in a digital format is bar none one of the best replayability factors that you can add to a game like that.
Yeah, agreed. There's another one out there. I don't know how big of a Harry Potter fan you are, but the recent one, the Hogwarts game.
Yeah, what was that called? Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, that was a good game. That's one of those games. It's kind of, I started playing that at the time where, what had come out last year, 2 years ago, something like that. Somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, it was I think about 2 years ago.
And my youngest is 2. So it was around the time that she was born. So I kind of started playing it when she was littler. So I had, like, you're up at night with the kid and she's sleeping in your arms, and you pop in a video game at 2 a.m. while the wife's sleeping and the kid's sleeping and your oldest is asleep. So you're up and you might as well play it. And then, I lost the time as they got older. So I'm kind of like halfway through it and I'm hoping to get it back in and finish it. But yeah, those games like that, like, there's infinite amount of things you can do.
The thing I love about that game particularly is it takes an established intellectual property that people have in their minds from maybe the movies, maybe just the books, and they let you step into the world and explore it in a whole new way. And it really adds like a very grounded infrastructure to even just the castle, to the grounds, being able to go over to Hogsmeade. I mean, it's a really cool way to approach what you already think you understand about like the space in an area because of the world that's been built through the words on the page, the visuals you see on the silver screen, and puts it in a whole new light and tells a story, a brand new story in a whole new way. And it's like, that's one of the things that draws me so heavily to these video game, like RPG style, long solo single player games.
That was one of the main things I really liked about Hogwarts Legacy is it wasn't Harry Potter. Like, it was, I called it Harry Potter, but it's Hogwarts. But anyways, that was one of the main things that drew me to it. It's like, oh, I don't have to play as Harry or, another main character. I can make my own character. It's me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My guy looked silly.
Yeah, I made mine look goofy too.
But hey, everybody, this is the Press Start Radio Show. We'll be back in just a minute.
It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Press Start Radio Show. My name is Xander. I'm joined by Andy.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, Andy? Thank you to everybody listening at home. You thought I was thanking you. I already thanked you. You don't get another one.
I don't get 2 thank yous in a day. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Thank you, everybody listening at home, in the car, wherever you may be on this beautiful day. We've been talking about some video games. We talked a little bit about Avowed, discussed our love of the Harry Potter games and the just kind of world building that you get to step into for single player. But I want to highlight one more game that just released that has been not necessarily part of other IP necessarily outside of the video game world. It's kind of just a series of games. I think there might be an anime involved with it as well. But Monster Hunter just dropped a new game, Monster Hunter Wilds. Yeah. And this has been an incredible release for this studio. I think currently it's the Steam charts stands that their 24-hour first release, they got up to 1.3 million concurrent players.
Wow.
In their first day, which
That's
is
amazing.
I think makes like top 5 on the Steam charts.
Yeah.
Insane stuff. I
cool.
I actually read an article where there was other video game studios that were giving their dev teams off because they got some messages about I'm gonna be sick on this day. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm gonna be sick." Yeah. So they just gave their studio off so they can go play Monster Hunter Wilds. That's how big of a deal some of these games dropping these days are.
I have to talk to my boss. Jeez, man.
I work kind of in the video game sector, and I don't know if I've ever asked for a day off because of a video game releasing. I think if another Halo came out, I would go, hey boss, I'm not gonna make it in. No, you know what I would do, and this is kind of just indicative of the current state of like video game releases. I think single player games tend to have better day one releases.
Yeah.
Multiplayer games that are heavily like coded in trying to connect players to other players.
There's always glitch.
That day one can be miserable.
Yeah.
And you
Agreed.
might be sick for all the wrong reasons. You might be sick to your stomach because you don't get to play it all. So I would take the day after it releases and and maybe try and get that one off.
A big one that happened with I didn't participate in the day one release, but I heard about it. The new Microsoft Flight Simulator game.
Ooh.
They had a lot of problems with people trying to connect through, and you have to connect through to that game because it maps everything for you, and it's real world mapping and all that junk. And anyways,
if like Google Maps changes in some way, if it gets like a regional update, does it change in game? Is it linked to something like Google Maps?
I believe the new one is the 2024 game is the Flight Sim 2024, but X, which was the one before that, I don't think it may have been, but not to the extent that the new one is. I think it also depends on actually what changes. So it's I believe so. Don't quote me on it. But I'm like 80% sure maybe. But a lot of connectivity issues. It still has some just because it's such a big game, and there's they have a marketplace where people create their own planes, and they put them up for sale or for free or whatever, but that is actually still not running, and the game's been out for at least 6 months or so they still don't have a marketplace available. It's things like that, and it's tough to get things rolling sometimes. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. The day after is definitely the day to go in. And get your time, or 2 days, whatever. Or the weekend coming up.
Get your PTO that day. Yeah.
But a lot of games also tie in, certain like deals. Like if you're, they have what do they call it? They call it in the NBA game I play, they call it VCs, virtual currency. Like things like that. They'll be like, we'll give you this much, or like Call of Duty does it, I think. We'll give you this pack if you, play on opening day, something baseball, drop day, whatever you want to call it. So a lot of people, I think, get on for that reason too. And, it depends. I guess it just depends on your preference.
I will say I did spend a little extra money to get Hogwarts Legacy like 3 days early.
Yeah. Why
and
not?
I kind of feel bad about it because I'm not usually one that does like early access, but I was so excited to run around Hogwarts that I just couldn't help myself.
I feel like even if you didn't read Harry Potter or watch the Harry Potter movies, you know what Hogwarts is, a little bit of a background of how it goes. Why would you not be excited to explore that open world, and you get to be a wizard and do magic?
Yeah.
Hopefully good magic.
Maybe.
That's a cool thing too. You could do it. You could be good or bad. I think that's what intrigued most people. They wanted to go in and just be total jerks and be the next Voldemort or something like that. So
yeah. Did you ever play? I think it was the Fable titles.
Oh, I loved those games. I was bad. I was a bad guy every single time I played. That was more fun. But yeah, I loved the Fable games 1, 2, and 3.
That was like kind of one of the first games that I can remember that really gave you the choice of morality, and the decisions that you make along the way impact how the game is presented to you. And I thought that was a really just ingenious way to approach it. For one, completely agree with you. Fable was so fun. I think it started to lose their vision a little bit in the later games. But number one, I can remember just being like spectacular.
They're still available for download on Game Pass.
Interesting.
1, 2, and 3. I don't know how.
I might have to revisit that. I don't currently have Game Pass, but I know it's one of the best deals in gaming.
Yeah, it's a pretty sweet deal. But yeah, they're 1, 2. Last time I checked, 1, 2, and 3 was on there. I've been tempted to download them, but my daughter takes up most of the downloads with Paw Patrol games now. So
yeah. Well, it's the Press Start Radio Show. We'll be back.
It's the Coach's Corner with Andy.
Covering Tri-State sports, it's the Coach's Corner with Andy on 92.1 The GOAT.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Press Start Radio Show. We have been having a blast today. I myself am Xander. I'm joined by Andy.
Hey.
Zandy. That's our show, our current show relationship name.
There you go. I like it.
Or Ander. I don't know.
My wife's name is Casey, so we get called Candy a lot.
That is fun.
All her side, like her side of her friends, like we call them her friends because they were her friends before I came into the picture.
Sure.
Her side of the friends, they all call us Candy. They all have nicknames for like each couple, and we're Candy. So
it's a little bit tougher. My wife's name is Rachel. So Zachel doesn't really have a good ring to it, and Randy, not a Rander. I don't like it.
Yeah, doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
No. But yeah, we've been talking about some video games. I kind of want to get a little bit into the entertainment sector. We've got the Oscars coming up here.
All right.
And I gotta say, I used to watch the Oscars every single year. My wife is asking me to watch them with her this year.
Same.
She's a big Oscars fan.
My wife's the same way. But do people get excited for the Oscars, or do they get excited for the red carpet?
I think so. One, there's the red carpet. Two, there's the musical performances. My wife is really into those. She's a huge Wicked fan, so she's really excited that nice. Wicked is kicking off the whole show. They're doing like a Wicked medley. That's going to be really neat.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are always really amazing. That's a part of the big reason she loves watching the Grammys too, because all the like song of the year are they're all presented by each of the finalists in that category. But I used to actually, it was probably like 10 years ago. I used to make a concerted effort to try and watch all of the best picture nominees.
Mm-hmm.
And that was such a heavy endeavor because for me, the best picture nominees are heavy. Like more often than not, they're very creative. They're very beautiful movies, but they're always, it seems to me like with a few exceptions, they are very heavy films dealing with a lot of like really intense human subjects and situations and environments.
They strike a chord usually. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which is why they get put in that best picture category. People, it resonates with them in some way. It makes them feel something.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not made an effort to watch any of the best picture nominees this year. It's going to be.
It also plays into if you're like us, and your wife or your significant other's really into the Oscars, and you watch it with them, you may discover that best picture winner or runner up, and you've never seen that movie or heard of it. I mean, that's me most of the time. I know the mainstream run of the mill, like what's popular movie coming out. Like I told you when we were off camera for a minute here, if it's Marvel related, I know it. If otherwise, I'll see it and I'll be like, oh yeah, or something else that interests me, like a video game remade into a movie, like we talked about the other week. But like, it opens your eyes to some movies, and you're like, oh, maybe I should go like try to find that or watch that. It looks really good. So I think that's a benefit too.
Definitely, yeah. Let me just run through the best picture nominees real quick. Yeah. Emilia Perez, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, The Substance, Dune Part 2.
Okay.
Wicked, Anora, and The Brutalist are.
Dune Part 2 and Wicked are the two that I recognize. Other ones?
No, exactly. You got me. And I saw Wicked in theaters. Wonderful experience. Loved the whole thing.
Didn't they have a rule where you couldn't sing?
What's that?
Wasn't there a rule or something, like an unspoken rule, like don't sing during the movie or something like that?
I think that like on opening weekend, it was so wildly popular that people wanted to sing along to it that I think the theater started recognizing like, okay, we need to like, because if you go on opening weekend, you're just going to get a bunch of theater kids in there that really love Wicked and they're going to want to sing along.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think the theater started going like, all right, like opening weekend, yes, can be the sing along weekend, and then after that, like all the other people that are a little more tone deaf and don't know the words, you can go see it then.
Like you and I.
Yeah, but no, I haven't seen Dune Part 2. I saw Dune 1, and I'm of course intended to see Dune Part 2, but just didn't fit the schedule around the release time. So looking forward to that. I think it's actually out, but I think it's also a disservice to watch it on my like at home TV when it's meant for like IMAX,
Yeah, no, that's definitely a factor. I mean, But like you said, if you don't have time to go do it, at least you're giving it the time to watch it when it does come to whatever
Right.
platform it comes on. But yeah,
Right.
no, that's definitely, and a lot of movies are like that today. You know, it's better to watch it in the theater now in IMAX. When back in the day, when I say back in the day, I'm talking about like what 10 years ago when IMAX was a newer thing. It wasn't a big deal, but now it's, you know, everything's in IMAX, and why not go see it for the experience? So
Right. Oh, I mean, the IMAX experience I think is amazing. One, I
Yeah.
love that you can reserve your seats.
Yeah.
That for me is
Yeah.
a busy person that can't show up,
Yeah.
you know, half an hour early to a show.
Mhm.
I get my reserve seat. Perfect. I just need to remember to reserve it early enough. So
Yep.
that's the other portion of it. But it is one of the best viewing experiences you can have in a
Yeah.
show or in a movie. So
Mhm.
um
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of that. If any of the, you know, the main, I say mainstream, like when I say mainstream, I'm talking Wicked and Dune 2. But yeah,
right,
it'll be
you
interesting
and
to
I.
see. Yeah, yeah. But I will probably watch it and see, you know, because they showed the clips from from all the nominees. So
Yeah.
see if anything is of interest. What was last year? The big ones. Oppenheimer was a big winner last year. They got a lot of, I think they got a lot of Oscars. And I think I want to
Let
say
me look real quick.
I want to say the Barbie movie because they kept calling it Barbenheimer. I remember that.
Oh, well, Barbenheimer was big because
They released the same time.
they
around
released
the
the
same
same weekend, so people were doing double features of Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yes, we had The Holdovers, American Fiction, Zone of Interest, Barbie, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, Poor Things, Oppenheimer, Maestro, and Killers of a Flower Moon.
Okay. I remember those, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
this is the Press Start Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Always a pleasure. See ya.
If you'd like to be featured on the Coach's Corner with Andy, email coach at 921thegoat.com.